Commander Vex Thul of the Hegemony Fleet stared at the tactical display with growing unease. The blue dot representing their quarry, a primitive human vessel, had been broadcasting the same distress signal for 3 standard cycles now. What had begun as a routine patrol to eliminate stragglers from the recently conquered Sol system had become something far more disturbing. "Status report," Vex Thul commanded, his chitinous fingers drumming against the command console. "Sir, the human vessel remains stationary at grid reference 7 Alpha. No signs of weapons charging or defensive maneuvers. The distress beacon continues, transmitting on all frequencies." Navigator Krelon's voice carried a note of confusion. "It's almost as if they want to be found." Vex Thul's compound eyes narrowed. In his 40 cycles of service to the hegemony, he had overseen the conquest of 17 species. Humans were supposed to be no different, another primitive race to be absorbed or eliminated. Yet something about this felt wrong. The hegemony had struck Earth with overwhelming force 6 months ago. Their invasion fleet of 3,000 vessels had expected token resistance from a species barely capable of faster-than-light travel. Instead, they had encountered something unprecedented. Humans who fought with a ferocity that defied all tactical models. Every human settlement had been defended to the last breath. Children barely old enough to walk had thrown rocks at hegemony soldiers. Entire families had chosen death over surrender. Most disturbing of all, the humans had seemed to fight harder, as their situation became more hopeless. "Sir," Communications Officer Zareth interrupted his thoughts. "We're receiving a transmission from the human vessel." On screen, the main display flickered to life, revealing a human female. Her dark hair was matted with blood, her clothing torn and stained. Behind her, Vex Thul could see the sparking remains of what had once been a ship's bridge. She looked directly into the camera with eyes that held no fear, only rage. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the UES Defiance. I know you're out there listening. You think you've won. You think you've broken us." Her voice was steady despite her obvious injuries. "You're wrong." Vex Thul leaned forward, intrigued despite himself. According to their intelligence, this vessel should have been destroyed weeks ago during the final assault on Earth's outer colonies. "You see," the human continued, "you made one critical error in your assessment of our species. You assumed that we fight to win. But humans don't just fight to win. We fight to make our enemies remember us. And today, I'm going to teach you something about human memory." The transmission cut to static, then cleared to show the woman's hands working frantically at her console. Vex Thul felt a chill run down his exoskeleton as he recognized the configuration she was entering. "Tactical," he barked. "What is the human doing?" Lieutenant Morgash's voice cracked as he replied, "Sir, she's overloading her fusion reactor, but the readings are all wrong. The containment field isn't failing. It's being deliberately destabilized in a cascade pattern." Vex Thul's blood ran cold. He had heard whispers of this from other fleet commanders, stories dismissed as propaganda or exaggeration. Humans who turned their own ships into weapons of unimaginable destruction when faced with certain defeat. "Distance to target. 15,000 kilometers and closing, sir. Well within the estimated blast radius based on the reactor specifications. Emergency retreat. All ships. Maximum burn away from—" "Sir!" Zareth's voice cut through the bridge chaos. "Another transmission from the human vessel." Captain Chen's face appeared again, but now she was smiling. It was not a pleasant expression. Behind her, warning lights bathed the bridge in hellish, red illumination. You want to know why humans are different from every other species you've conquered? She asked conversationally, as if discussing the weather rather than imminent mutual annihilation. It's because we understand something that apparently eludes your kind. There are things worse than death. She paused, her fingers hovering over what was clearly a final activation switch. We remember our dead, every single one. My daughter was on Luna Colony when you glassed it. My husband died defending the orbital platforms around Mars. My parents chose to stay on Earth rather than evacuate. Her voice never wavered, never broke. You killed my entire species. Did you really think I would let you walk away clean? Vexthul watched in horror as more dots appeared on the tactical display, dozens of them, all broadcasting the same defiant message, all following the same impossible trajectory toward his fleet. Impossible, he whispered. Our intelligence indicated all human vessels were destroyed or scattered. Sir, Navigator Krelon's voice was barely above a whisper. I'm reading massive energy signatures from all contacts. They're all overloading their reactors. The human woman's laughter echoed across the bridge, a sound that would haunt Vexthul's dreams for cycles to come. We didn't scatter, she said, as if she could hear his thoughts. We regrouped. We planned. We waited for you to send a small patrol to clean up the stragglers. And now? Now you get to learn what humans do to those who hurt their families. The display showed her hand moving toward the switch one final time. This is for Earth. This is for Luna. This is for Mars. This is for every human child who will never see another sunrise because of you. Her eyes locked onto the camera with terrible intensity. And this is to ensure that somewhere, in some database, on some hegemony world, there will be a record that we fought back, that we made you pay. The transmission ended. Vexthul's fleet of 12 ships tried desperately to escape the expanding sphere of destruction. But human engineering had always excelled at one thing above all others, making things explode with maximum efficiency. As his own ship's hull began to buckle under the impossible energies unleashed by the human revenge fleet, Vexthul's last coherent thought was a bitter realization. The hegemony had indeed conquered humanity. They had simply failed to consider what humanity might do to them in return. The beacon continued transmitting long after the explosions faded, carrying Captain Chen's final message to any who would listen. Humanity remembers, humanity endures, and humanity never, ever forgives.